Welcome to the WPAOG Podcast. Our guest today is Erin Helle, West Point class of 2009 and Executive Director of Strategic Development and Partnerships at AOG, a decorated Army engineer and one of the first women to earn the elite Sapper tab. Erin now leads efforts that strengthen the connection between AOG and the surrounding community of Highland Falls and Fort Montgomery. Please enjoy this episode with our host, Jamie Enos.
Erin, Hudson Valley Program, thank you so much for being on the AOG podcast today. It's a pleasure to have you. I can't wait to talk about this and really kind of get this program out there amongst our grads and even our constituents and our local community here in the Hudson Valley. So welcome and great to have you on today.
Thank you. It's so great to be here.
Yeah, you've been doing a lot of work here. So can we just start from the very beginning and just talk about sharing the vision and the mission behind the Hudson Valley Program?
Yeah, absolutely. We've spent a lot of time wordsmithing our mission and vision. So I'm just going to read it to you because I don't want to mess it up. And we've put a lot of effort into this because we are doing a lot of things, and keeping it simple and straightforward was a bit of a challenge. So this is what we came up with. So our mission is to build partnerships to engage the Hudson Valley, elevate Highland Falls, and enhance the West Point experience. And our vision is really about positioning Highland Falls as a thriving hub of opportunity and community by leading strategic partnerships that strengthen West Point's alliance with the Hudson Valley to activate its full potential and transform the gateway to West Point.
Yeah, that gateway to West Point is so important. And that town, it's a little town right outside the gate, right? And we all know it. We've all driven through it 100 times, if not more, or lived there and walked through there. How would you describe that relationship between West Point, Highland Falls, and even the greater Hudson Valley community?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's getting stronger. It's getting better, more and more collaborative and increasingly productive. Because we're getting all the right people to the table. We're really rallying behind this shared vision. And now that we have the right people in the conversation and we are hearing each other and listening to each other, and most importantly, trusting each other, like, we have made a lot of progress and we're just getting started. And so relationships have become the cornerstone of this whole thing. And I think that's why we've seen so much progress this year, because that's been such a focus for us.
And it's such a unique position for AOG to take, right? And such an initiative that we're investing in the community here, but it's obviously part of us, our soul as well. Can you talk about what makes it so much more unique compared to what else is going on in the region?
Yeah, I think it's really ultimately comes down to just how much that we care and how invested that we are. We aren't going anywhere. West Point's not going anywhere. AOG is not going anywhere, and we are just here to build something lasting and something that works for everyone on both sides of the gate. So far, AOG has committed more than $8 million to Highland Falls through the Connect After School program, community development, and real estate investment. But it's so much more than just that strategic acquisitions. It's about relationship building and community development, and we're working really hard to align what West Point wants with what Highland Falls needs. And again, like, bringing everyone to the table, hearing everyone out is why we are finally moving forward and becoming more successful in our efforts.
Yeah, we talk a lot about Connect because we can see it almost every day, especially starting from September and rolling right through May. And we see those kids and we see the cadets come in and we see people from the community come in and volunteer. And it's just like rolling through the neighborhood there. But the program supports the local community at a larger standpoint as well. It's not just in that school district, which our professors and our instructors and our military are living in the community. It's more than that. So what does that look like? How to describe that?
Yeah, so Connect is such a cool program. I don't even think people understand really what goes into it. But it's completely run by AOG. The staff is fantastic. It's obviously so much more than just childcare, more than after school care. Mm-hmm. They focus on nutrition. They focus on education. They're offering, I think it's like 50 some days of extra academic academics that they get.
Oh
Like
yeah,
when
and
you
it's
look,
like it's everything. It's STEM, it's photography, it's like all these different things
yeah,
too. Like the kids
gardening,
are
like cooking classes.
yeah.
And the coolest thing is like they really empower their kids over there, and they have like these student ambassadors. Like when I went over there for a tour, they just like pull up this microphone and they're like, send in an ambassador. And then a student shows up, and this like 12-year-old kid is showing you like these murals that they built in all these classes. And it's so cool. And these kids don't have an opportunity to do that anywhere else.
Mhm.
And frankly, a lot of them would probably just be hanging out at home watching TV, eating fruit snacks, when instead they're in this environment where they have people who love them and they're providing them a nutritious snack. And it is so cool. I mean, I have goosebumps talking about it. I wish my kids could go. But it's a game changer for the working families of Highland Falls. I mean, this place would look a lot different and did look a lot different before Connect. And Connect has just allowed these parents just a little bit of wiggle room, a little bit of breathing room, and in a place where their kids are safe. And it's everything, honestly.
Yeah, the future, it just giving that leadership opportunities, like you said, to those like 11 and 12-year-olds as adults are walking through the building to show off and have the pride in their own community as well, and fostering that. And it's really cool. They're doing some really neat things, and I love to see all the different things that come out of it and the photos. And you never see a sad face, that's for sure. And there's always some
Yeah.
sort of party going on over there
Yeah.
too, a celebration of some sort. And it's having a huge impact. That's what's kind of cool. But so how do we measure that, right? Like everybody's going to want to know. So like, how do you know if you're successful, right? Because this is hard stuff, right? Like, so how at AOG are we measuring the impact and the success of the Hudson Valley program of HVP?
Yeah. Well, with just Connect alone, the scores speak for themselves. Their scores have gone up significantly for these kids since the program started. And then the growth of the program is a good measure too. But in terms of really right now measuring our partnership and support of the people, I think a lot of it is it's a little harder to measure, right? But
Sure.
if you drive through Highland Falls right now, there's Go Army flags up on every single light post in the village, which I don't think that's happened in many decades. So that's really cool, something we haven't seen here in a long time. Other things that we're tracking our tenant improvement allowance and rent abatements for our tenants. So we really see our tenants as partners. It's not this one-way street where we're like, here's a space, good luck. We lean on them to help us spread the message and help us share what we're doing in the community. And likewise, we provide these improvement allowances for them, sometimes rent-free periods when they're getting established and things like that. So those are things that we can track. We can track new businesses opened on Main Street. Already this year, we've opened 2. We will open another one next month and hopefully a 4th one by the end of the year. That's more business than Highland Falls has probably seen in the past 5 years. So that's pretty cool.
Great.
We can also, of course, track the growth in the tax base, both for property taxes and sales tax revenue for the village, the town, and the county as well. We can track our developer engagement, number of proposals that we're receiving, projects approved, and groundbreakings completed. Funding secured is another way that we'll really, really measure our success coming up as we start working with local developers, how many total dollars we can get local, state, federal levels. But yeah, there's a lot of things that we could track, but I think that these most closely align with our goals right now.
Yeah, it's nice to see that pride. And like you said, the community and the partnership, even visually, is starting to blossom and kind of revitalize in a way. When sometimes I think a little bit so economic revitalization, but it's even just the pride and the cleaning up and kind of just making sure that alignment of like, oh, look at this Go Army atmosphere right outside the gate is really vibrant as well.
Yeah.
And it's not just during football season, right? Because like we kind of expect that, of course, like, oh yeah, like here comes the crowd for football season. But those flags have been up since you're talking, like July or something, June?
Before graduation. Yeah, we got them up
Yeah.
for graduation.
Yeah. So they've been up all summer and stuff like that, waving. So welcoming
Yeah.
parents and the transition of the faculty over the summer, everything as well. So that's kind of a nice welcome as well.
And you're right about that atmosphere. That's those are the things that aren't so measurable.
Mhm.
But it used to be a year or so ago, it was different when I would walk down the street. And now there's just this level of excitement and people are really eager to see what the future holds. And it's vastly different than what it was like even earlier this year. And I think that's really cool to feel that. And to some extent, you just have to be here to feel it. But it's real. And I think that's why we're getting all this support and all this excitement.
Yeah, and I'm sure everybody's excited about new dining opportunities and everything opening as well. So
Yeah.
what kind of partnerships and collaborations do you think, would you say, have been the most valuable then to the program's growth so far? Because you're just working with so many different, I don't even know, clients, incoming partnerships, relationships. I mean, that's like, I feel like that's all you're doing all day is just relationshiping and kind of building those
Yes.
bridges. So
Yeah. Relationship management is like the main thing that I do. You're exactly right. And
I understand. I relate.
I have a tracker for this. Like, when was the last time I reached this person? When was the last time I had a quality engagement with this person?
Right.
So yeah, that's a huge part of it. But I would say like the most valuable, without a doubt, would just be the relationship we have with the village mayor and the village board as a whole. There almost was no relationship at all prior to this mayor. So this is a new mayor. The previous mayor served for 28 of the prior 32 years. And relationships there were not good. They weren't productive. We have a new mayor, some new board members, and this is what has opened this door. We finally got them to change the zoning laws that we absolutely needed in order to even think about developing this area. The zoning laws were very dysfunctional, kind of disorganized, and you couldn't actually build anything that would allow you to make a profit. So we finally got them on board to change that. We're actually working on another round of zoning tweaks, and they're working with us on it, and we're coming to the table productively and peacefully. And so I'd say that's the most productive and probably the thing that helped us back most before. And the other thing, Orange County relationships have been good. The county executive, Steve Newhouse, has been really helpful. He's been offering up his team to help us with a lot of things. We also have a lot of collaboration here inside the gates at West Point between different entities here. So we're also setting up some capstones with West Point itself. Some classes overlap quite nicely with what we're doing. So we're getting cadets involved, which is super fun because they're so motivated and so smart, and they really help us with our community engagement stuff too. But yeah, I mean, so many partnerships and collaboration is the absolute foundation of what we're doing here, and that's what's going to make or break this in the long term.
Oh, that's neat. I love to hear that about the capstones. That's kind of cool. That'll be great.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear them, hopefully, what their projects day final products look like, and we'll get a little briefing at AOG, hopefully, to spy on that and see what the progress looks like.
Yeah.
So what would you say success-wise? Well, you got a success story you can share with us to represent what's been going on?
Yeah.
People, it's hard. Not everybody travels back to the Rockbound Highland home here at West Point. So what does it look like? How has it evolved? I mean, it's obviously different and it's changed, but what is that shiny star that's been glowing so bright lately?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of success stories. We've all these businesses that we're opening, but I think that the thing that paints a really clear picture is the developers conference that we did in June. We had
that was a great attendance. Wow, I was so impressed.
We had 57 people registered, plus another 30 or so from the town and the village. And so these 57 people were developers. There's 13 development teams, some local teams. It was about half and half, local teams and grad teams who flew in from across the country. We just brought them all together. We brought in the Orange County Partnership and the the Orange County IDA was there. The Senator Skoufis was there. Orange County Executive was there. We just brought these heavy hitters to the table and showed them what we were working on, showed them big picture vision, offered up some different opportunities they could purchase privately or they could lease from AOG to help us with what we're doing. We showed them some funding options, and we really brought, it was more than just developers. We also brought architects, we brought investors, we brought builders so people could come together and figure out how to get this done. And I remember being in one of the breakout sessions, and the developer was talking to a builder, and then there was an architect in there too, and the Developer said, I need one of you and I need one of you. And I knew that we were successful. That's what we were trying to set up, was this room where this collaboration could happen and people could come together to do this. Because realistically, this is not a great place to invest. I mean, New York is not landlord friendly. New York is very bureaucratic. There's a lot of red tape. They love their professionals here. There's just a lot to consider that many of our grad developers don't deal with when they're investing in Texas and Tennessee and Florida and things like that. And the returns don't even compare. So we are really asking a lot from them. We're asking them to establish operations up here and deal with all the fun things that New York offers, and also for a lower return. So, but the reason they're doing that is because it is West Point. It is the gateway to West Point, and it's just such an amazing place. That's why they're interested. But we still have to really create this environment that can allow them to be successful. And I think that's what the Developers Conference did. It has shown them what we've done up to this point to create this like blank canvas of business-friendly, shovel-ready opportunity. And we're just kind of guiding them to it. And now we're saying, go show us what you want to build here. And we have a request for proposal out there. Their proposals are due pretty soon, and they'll show us what they want to build. And then AOG will choose the one that most aligns with AOG's vision and what's best for West Point in the future. And that's just phase one. That's just the very beginning of this. And then hopefully another thing that we're hoping comes out of this, there's some other grads who own land here. There's other people who could potentially purchase some of the other properties for sale that aren't owned by AOG. And we want them to build it too. This isn't something we want to do on our own. We want to work collaboratively with a bunch of people to collectively elevate this whole area.
Yeah, I was privileged enough to be able to attend, to kind of listen to what was going on, just to briefing and understand in a better capacity, because it's kind of been an enigma of like, what is this thing that we're doing, and what's going on? What is AOG, and what is happening with Highland Falls? And your honesty is always really refreshing first, and so appreciated, I think. But it was interesting to see business owners I have known or know from outside of the area come in. And I thought that was really valuable as well, just to see that. And then, like you said, the other relationships start to form, and then little side conversations pick up. But I thought overall it was a really great event. And like you said, very well attended for the first one that you're holding, and kind of not to spill all your secrets, but kind of came together a little bit last minute of like, hey, here's a great idea. Let's put this together. Oh, okay. And it was flawless. It was beautiful and really well done. So congratulations to you and the team for putting that together, and such a success story. So well done. And hopefully that is a great launching point again for the next phase and what you've got planned to do that. And I like, we hear that often, the gateway to West Point, Highland Falls is the gateway to West Point. What do you think makes that special, right? We know physically it's like literally the gate right there, right? But what do you think makes it special when we describe it like that?
Yeah, I think it's just the proximity to this premier academic institution. It's just a special place. It's not something a lot of people understand unless you've been here to feel it. And frankly, it's something I kind of forgot being away for so long. Like as a grad and even as a recruit, I felt it then. And then I served my time in the military, didn't come back for like almost 10 years. And then you're just kind of reminded when you're here, when you're physically here, you can feel it. And I think that's what it is. And when everything around us is changing, West Point just holds strong. And the values here are unique. The caliber of people here is absolutely inspiring. And like, even as a cadet, I knew that this is a place I wanted to raise my family. And I don't think that I'm alone in that thought. In fact, I know I'm not.
Yeah, we have a lot of grads that live in town. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, long before I ever thought about having kids, I knew someday I wanted to have kids here on post, and it's everything I thought it would be. And like when you think about the things that have happened in our nation's history, and really just like the giants that have walked these grounds, it's just, you can't help but feel it. So there's really no place in the world like this. And it sounds cliche, but it really is sacred. It's just this one of a kind place, and you can't replicate this anywhere else.
Yeah. But it hasn't been super easy the whole time, and it hasn't been picture perfect. So can you talk about some of the challenges that AOG has faced in building and sustaining this program, and what have you had to do to overcome some of those? Because we don't want we don't want to pretend that this has been like a walk in the park, you know.
Yeah.
The team has been rowing the boat, for lack of better words. I hate to use a Navy analogy, but
Yep.
it's not always easy either.
Yeah. No, it hasn't been, but it really has been a lot of fun. I think that rebuilding the trust was that's probably what I spent the whole entire first year and then some doing, is just rebuilding the trust. And on both sides of the gate. A lot of the local people, the older people that live in Highland Falls, they really grew up on West Point. And then after 9/11, the gates were put up, and there's now a physical barrier between them and their childhood. And they read a lot into that, and they thought that that was them like no longer being invited here. And then when our relationship, like the relationship just in general between West Point and the town, was pretty quiet for decades, that just inevitably bred this distrust, this like lack of communication just led to a lack of trust, and some animosity grew. And so it took a long time to break that down. And I still think we're constantly going to have that sort of working against us. And especially with dealing with the older generation, some people still remember, maybe not remember, but maybe their parents, grandparents dealt with eminent domain in the 30s and 40s. So they have not forgotten that their grandma's house was, they see it as being taken by the government, but eminent domain purchased that land and didn't give it back to them. And so there is some deep rooted animosity, and we can't just pretend that that didn't happen. So rebuilding that trust took time, getting them to understand that we do care, and there's no situation in which we're successful and they are not. So we have to be aligned on that. And so I think that was half the battle, creating that foundation. And now that we have that foundation, I think just keeping everybody focused is really challenging, because everyone is busy. Everyone has their own priorities. And I think everyone knows that this is really important, but it's not the most important thing. The village mayor has to keep a village running. The SOUP has to worry about West Point. The AOG CEO is worried about the grads and cadets and serving them. So this is no one's top priority. So keeping it a priority is hard, making the time to do it. But kudos to them, because they really are making this a priority. And again, that's why we've seen the progress we've seen. I think the other thing is government just generally moves slow. So when we're making these law changes in the village, it takes a very long time, which can be a little frustrating. But yeah, I mean, I think that's it. Lots of challenges, but I also don't think that we're unique. If you talk to any other developer, anyone who's been in this space who has tried to come into a new place and establish themselves and build something new, they're dealing with all of these same challenges. Mm-hmm. This is not something that is unique to us or something that we can't overcome. But I think us understanding that and knowing that it's going to take time and putting the relationships first is what's going to ultimately allow us to be successful here and be successful in the very long term.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it's a really good reflective point too, about when you talk about even 9/11, even though it's still vivid in many of our minds, especially our generation and that kind of thing. But also West Point is still open. It does just look a little different. Going to the visitor center and getting a pass you can still come on post for tours, and you can still access, and it's still open. It just looks a little different. So we still welcome visitors. We can't wait to host. The AOG building is open. We're doing exciting things in our building. West Point is still open. It just looks a little bit different. So, but that's a really great observation too, and sensitivity that we're trying to network and move around as you go through the program as well. So 5 years, right? That's kind of, I guess, what do you do in 5 years, right? The success, the benchmark. Where do you see the program evolving to?
Yeah, I mean, there are so
Probably
many
a really hard
possibilities.
question. Maybe even like five days, right? Sometimes when you're talking about town, right? But it says sometimes the timing is a little bit harder. Probably seems like 5 days is 5 years, probably.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that's what's cool. And I think that's what I like most about this is like I do not see a situation in which we are not successful. Like we have gotten the interest, we have gathered what we need to be successful. The question is just, what is this going to look like? I mean, between West Point on one side, the Bear Mountain State Park on the other, and the river on the other side, Highland Falls is just such a place of untapped potential. And so many people see that. And so now that we have created this environment where they can actually make a return and they can bring new business in, there's not an upside that I can envision. But I do think, like, in the short term, 3 to 5 years from now, we will have gotten through this first wave of revitalization and everything that comes with that. So we'll see new buildings put up, we'll see new community offerings, new programming. And with that is just going to come this excitement and a live town. It's been a very sleepy town. It's been a whole lot of not a lot going on here for decades, which is why we have these challenges. No one on the planning board has actually approved these buildings we're trying to build because they've not built in 50, 80 years even. So, but all of this is bringing a ton of excitement. And so I think once we can actually show them something and show them a couple of new buildings and show them that we are about enhancing what's already here, we already know we have this diamond in the rough and we just kind of want to polish it up a little bit. That's what's creating all this excitement. And so 3 to 5 years from now, we're just really getting started, right? We're just really starting to get that excitement up and running. So it is hard to answer that question, but I think that the cadets that will graduate this year, when they come back for their 5-year reunion, they're not going to recognize Highland Falls. And when they come back for their 10, their 20 year, it's going to just be a totally different place. And I can't wait to see it.
So, like I said earlier, we are open. West Point is open. AOG is doing a whole bunch of things, bringing people back. And that's what we're all about, right? It's bringing everybody back to the Rockbound Highland home, connecting the Long Gray Line. For those grads and those people that haven't been back to West Point and they're coming back to visit Highland Falls for the first time, what would you recommend they experience to truly understand the town's character?
I would tell them just to take a walk down Main Street, stop at all these local places, stop inside a local restaurant, and talk to the people. Hear their story, why they're here and why they stayed. Because this really is like small town USA, and I don't see communities like this in a lot of places anymore. So I think it's just all about getting to know the people and understanding what they love about this place, because that's what we're trying to do, is get more people to see that. Because these people are here to stay. This is not something I've seen in other communities as a military spouse. So many of the communities I've lived in since graduation as active duty officer and as a spouse, they're very transient. But this is a very established community with deep, deep roots. And these people have stories to tell. So I would just encourage you, take a walk down Main Street and hear some of these stories, because you'll fall in love too.
Erin, where can people follow you to find more about what the Hudson Valley Program is up to with, like, because you're doing a lot. So where do you want everybody to find out more about you?
Yeah, so you can find us on the AOG website, so westpointaog.org. If you go under connections, you'll see a Hudson Valley Program link there. So click on Learn More. You'll find a little bit about us. You can also email me anytime, erin.helle, HELLE, @WPAOG.org. I'd love to hear your ideas. Anybody you think might want to invest here, maybe you want to bring a business here, I'm here for it.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add? Or like I said, it's just so impressive. I mean, it's a big hill to climb, but you have been getting up there and making changes down in Highland Falls, and you can tell the vibe is energized, and kind of just excitement is in the air. So yeah, thank you so much for all the effort that you are putting into it, and we look forward to reaping the benefits as well, because we know that it's a lot of work that you're doing, but we just get to see the positive impact.
Yeah, and I think that's actually one thing I'd love to say. I love that AOG is doing this. I love that AOG is committing these resources to this awesome place. And the AOG board, the AOG leadership is amazing. I think that's the best thing. The thing I love most about this is just being able to interact and engage with these individuals who have really, like, empowered me and trusted me to do what we need to do here. And it's been so much fun. Not something I saw myself doing, but I love it. And so just thanks to all of those people for letting me do it and just doing it in general, because this is going to be a game changer.
Awesome, Erin. Thanks for coming on today. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, JB.
Thank you for listening to the WPAOG Broadcast Network. Please take a moment to rate and review the show and subscribe to automatically get updates on a new episode. Thank you for listening.